least, actually, yeah, at least the cloud, there's a big cloud over the sun right now. So you got me being a meteorologist? This is David Nussbaum at Wheelsboutique, and today we have a beautiful duel of Italian supercars. To my right is the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ. To my left is the Ferrari 488 Spider, and both of these have some really cool modifications that we just completed this week. So I'll start off with the SVJ just because there's actually less things to go over on this car than on the 488. So right off the bat, we have the HRE 527 FMR. It is a two-piece wheel. It's got satin charcoal for the center face, and it's got polished for the outer lip. Now, when this car came to us, the center locking ring that's around the center cap of Lamborghini, right here, was a completely different color. So we went ahead and we ordered the red rings that go for the center locking nut, just to kind of bring the rest of the car together, because it does have red carbon ceramic brake calipers, and it has the red J on the SVJ script on the side. So overall, I think the combination is actually very quite nice. So right before we started to film, I was sitting off to the side and I was just looking at the cars, thinking about what I'm gonna say about it. And I was noticing how the satin charcoal of the HRE 527 FMR actually matches very quite nicely on the carbon fiber of the car. So when people think of carbon fiber, you almost think that it's black, but when you get up really close to it, it's more of a dark gray, to be honest. And so the satin charcoal pairs perfectly together with everything. This car has carbon fiber from factory every single place you look. You've got it right here, these little front wing areas for the front bumper. You have the front lip spoiler. You've got the side mirrors, the side skirts, and then working our way to the back of the car, which in my opinion is my favorite portion of the car. This gigantic wing, more carbon here on the cover for the engine bay, and then you've got a whole rear bumper that's carbon fiber, and of course the dual exit exhaust pipes tips. That's such a cool design for the SVJ. This was thought to be the last of the Aventadors until they're coming out with the Ultimate, which we had one on order, and it actually was on the way from Europe and was on the infamous boat that sank. So pour out a little liquor for our Lamborghini Ultimate. We're gonna wish we're gonna have that car, but regardless, I think we're gonna order another one, see if Lamborghini can accommodate that. But this color, Marvin, do you know what the name of the finish is? Cepheus blue. Truly phenomenal blue. I love the color. Sometimes I'll see an SVJ where I'm not really sure about the just odd color in the J or the SV, or some people do some weird combinations, in my opinion. But on this one, it's absolutely perfect. Goes absolutely, it's just a great combination, especially with the Italian flag to bring everything together again. But enough about this SVJ. Now I'll turn my attention to the 488 Spider. Now, this client of mine lives in an area where he can't have the car too low. So what we did was we did the Novatec springs and we adjusted it just a little bit less than the factory ride height. Typically, we'll have it adjusted way lower, something like the SVJ to my right. But again, he would have had trouble getting in and out of his building. So we set the springs to a moderate ride height. We didn't do the WB drop on this car. Another thing that we didn't do because of the low clearance that he has at his building is the Novatec front spoiler. So he was afraid that if we added that, it would scrape way too easily. So that is basically the only piece that we didn't do on this car. If you look on the center, they call this the front bumper cover. So that's actually the Novatec carbon right here, and it goes all the way to the bottom. So that replaced a black plastic piece that came from Ferrari. And then on this, he already has carbon from Ferrari, which is pretty cool. It's a nice match. Working our way down the side of the car, we've got the most noticeable piece I would think, and that's the side skirt. And so on a side skirt, you're thinking, you know, something about 2 or 3 inches just from front to rear, but in the Novatec, that's not the case. This has a gigantic design element with a little faux little air vent there. And I think it's probably one of the most noticeable pieces, hands down. It's the one that looks most aftermarket. I really do like the design. I think that it makes it look really, really sharp from the side. We also have the side air intake in carbon from Novatech. Really cool piece. They offer this for the 488, the F8, even for the 458 predating this car. So that's a really unique piece. And then continuing our way to the back, we have the wing. So the side skirt and the wing, I think, are the two pieces that are the most noticeable on this kit. I have some clients that prefer a kind of a duck bill, which Novatech doesn't offer. They offer the raised one, and they have an Enlargo for their wide body kit wing. But I do like this one. I was actually quite surprised how much I liked it, especially with the top down. Another Novatech piece, you've got the rear tail light covers and also these little covers here that I think, if my memory serves me correctly, Novatech called it the rear side air vents. So that would be this piece here. And then moving our way downward, we've got the rear diffuser in carbon, and also you've got the little diffuser fins, which is the nice touch, because otherwise these diffuser fins would be a black plastic and it would stick out like a sore thumb because the rest of the rear diffuser is carbon fiber. So that's all the exterior stuff. We'll get to the wheels in a little bit, but under this, you also have the IPE exhaust. We've got a DME Stage 2 tune, high flow cats on this, so I hope this doesn't have a rev limiter so I could jump in and give you guys some sound clips of the IPE exhaust. But on the drive over here from the shop, which is just a couple of 100 meters away, it sounded absolutely incredible. Not as incredible as the naturally aspirated V12, but this holds its own, punches above its weight class, especially with the IPE exhaust. The DME tune, as I mentioned, that serves two purposes. Number one, it avoids the check engine light from the high flow cats. And number two, it gives this baby an extra bump in power. We're talking about over 100 horsepower, over 100 foot-pounds of torque. Definitely something you could feel with your butt dyno. So the customer was really happy. He had to bring it a couple of times because there was something being a little bit off with the tune in different RPM ranges, but we stand behind all the products that we sell, so we told him to come back and we took care of that. He's gonna be really ecstatic with that. So moving on to the wheels, which is what we're known for, you've got the HRE P107 SCs. Now, we also have the bezel that holds the Ferrari center cap. So the Ferrari center cap is actually much smaller in diameter than the hole for the HRE wheels. So we have to order an aluminum bezel and finish it in satin black in this case, so that way the bezel snaps into the wheel and then the Ferrari center cap snaps right in. Most of my Ferrari customers want the Ferrari logo. Most of my Rolls-Royce customers want the floating logo. Those are probably the two car brands where my clients want to keep the emblems on the car. So going back to the wheels, up front we have a 20 by 9.5 with a 255/35/20 tire. It'll be a Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. And on the rear we have a 21 by 13. That uses a 355/25/21 tire. Now, to give you a little bit of perspective, this 355/25/21 is the same 355/25/21 that the SVJ uses from factory. So that's what we have on this one. That's what we have on this one. So when you see this car from the back, you can tell how wide it is, especially with the Novatech lowered ride height. And then just looking at the interior, you got the really cool Daytona seats. You have the red seat belts. So I really like how this customer optioned the car. I think he's gonna be extremely happy with the way it came out, and he's not gonna have to worry about that rubbing up in the front, as I mentioned. So overall, in Miami, you gotta have a convertible in your stable. So this is the perfect weekend car for days like this. I should have wore shorts because it's absolutely blitzing hot, like 100 degrees out here. But then you also want to have something for the rainy days, which would be the coupe. So you've got the SVJ Aventador, of course, and I mean, what else can I say? One of the most beautiful, most radical supercars, hypercars, whatever you want to call it, in the world, especially in this color. The scissor doors, I mean, come on, what more can you ask for? The interior has the black with the blue piping. Truly, truly phenomenal. If I had to pick one or the other, it would be a coin flip. I couldn't pick one over the other. I think I would wake up in the morning, grab my two keys, flip the coin, and see which one I'm taking out for that day. But I want to know what you guys would prefer between these two models. Now, let us know in the comments which one you like as is. I know it's a really fun exercise. You can not agree with the modifications that a person did with their car, but I'm really interested in seeing which one you like more as is. So the SVJ with the HRE 527 FMRs and the Novatec lowering springs, which I haven't mentioned yet, or the 488 Spider with the HREs, the IP exhaust, and all the Novatec exterior pieces. So drop a comment, subscribe, tell your friends and your family, hit the bell icon so that you know when we are posting a video, and I will catch you guys on the next one. See you later, alligator.